The first time my son ever begged me like that, we were still parked at the airport curb. The sliding doors of SeaTac hissed shut behind my wife, swallowing her black blazer and rolling carry-on, and that should have been the end of it. Routine. Normal. Another Thursday night business trip. I'd already reached the gear shift when Lucas's small hand clamped around mine. "Dad," he whispered, his voice cracking a way I'd never heard before. "Please don't go home tonight." I laughed at first, soft, automatic. "Buddy, it's late. You got school tomorrow." His grip tightened. His knuckles went white. He leaned forward in his booster seat, eyes locked on mine like he was afraid to blink. I know something about Mom. That's when I saw it. Not imagination. Not a kid's bad dream. Real fear, raw and shaking and way too big for an 8-year-old. What I witnessed next still haunts me to this day. And before I tell you, yeah, I know how this sounds. But stick with me. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. Because this story doesn't ease you in. It grabs you and drags you. It had been raining the entire drive to SeaTac. The kind of steady northwest drizzle that turns headlights into smeared stars on the windshield. Thursday nights always felt like this. Dim, rushed, slightly hollow. Kinsley leaned into the open window and kissed my cheek, her perfume sharp and familiar. "San Francisco tonight," she said. "Prep meetings all day tomorrow. I left the Honda here, so I can head straight in when I'm back." Friday night, I replied, "Love you. Love you too." She smiled, blonde hair pulled back tight, makeup precise, every inch the polished professional I'd married 12 years earlier. Then she was gone, absorbed into the crowd like a drop of ink in water. I didn't see the lie. Not then did I end the back seat. Lucas had gone quiet. Too quiet. He twisted the straps of his dinosaur backpack over and over, plastic buckles clicking softly. He was always like that, the watching type. The kid who noticed when clocks were off by a minute or when someone's voice changed just enough to matter. Teachers said he was observant. I'd always thought that was code for anxious that I shifted into drive. That's when his hand shot forward. "Dad, we can't go home tonight." His face was pale, freckles standing out like pinpricks. His eyes were wide and wet, not crying, holding it back by his side. "Lucas, hey, what's this about?" He grabbed my arm hard enough to make me flinch. "Please believe me this time." That phrase landed heavier than it should have. This time, because there had been other times 0.3 nights in a row when he pointed out a strange car parked across the street, engine off, lights dark. I'd told him it was probably a neighbor's friend. Another night when he woke me up whispering about a phone call he'd overheard, Mom's voice low, tense, saying, "You promised." I'd sent him back to bed, half asleep and annoyed. Kids imagine things. I'd told myself. Kids worry. But now he was shaking. Actually shaking. "I'm not making it up," he said, voice breaking. "Please don't make me go home. I work as an engineer at Boeing. My whole job is calculating risk, probability, consequence, failure points." In my head, the equation ran fast and clean if I believed him and he was wrong. We'd waste a night if I didn't believe him and he was right. Something terrible waited behind our front door. I changed lanes. "Okay," I said quietly. "I believe you." Lucas sucked in a breath like he'd been underwater. You do?" "I do," I said, and it hurt how much that mattered to him. "I'm sorry I didn't before." We drove toward home anyway, but something in me had shifted. I wasn't going inside. Not why Edie, as the rain tapped against the windshield. Guilt crept in. Years of late nights, weekends buried in reports, chasing promotions while telling myself I was providing. The truth was uglier. I'd stopped paying attention to my wife, to my house, to the quiet warning sign sitting in a booster seat behind me. Not anymore. I pulled onto our street and killed the headlights. We would watch first. We parked the truck beneath 2 tall oaks across the street, their branches knitting together above us like a ceiling. From there, I had a clean view of the house. My house. The one I designed myself. Reinforced doors, motion lights, lines of sight planned away and engineer plans redundancies. It was supposed to be safe. That thought kept repeating, dull and stubborn. Time slowed into something sticky. The porch light glowed steady. The blue front door sat closed and harmless. The maple tree in the yard barely moved in the rain. Lucas dozed against the window, breath fogging the glass in soft bursts, then woke, then slept again to BY 10:45 p.m. Embarrassment crept in. "Buddy," I said quietly, fingers tapping the steering wheel. "Maybe we should just check. Maybe you misheard." Lucas jerked upright like he'd been shocked. "Wait, Dad. Please. Just a little longer." There was desperation in it. Not fear anymore. Certainty. I stayed. MY engineer's brain ran numbers anyway. No movement. No anomalies. Probability of threat dropping by the minute. It wasn't looking good for my decision. Then headlights appeared. They came without warning. Just a dark shape rolling down the street. Lights off. Engine barely a whisper. A black or navy van. Hard to tell in the rain. No front plate. It drifted past the neighboring houses and slowed right in front of ours. At MY chest tightened. Two men stepped out. Black clothing. Hoodies pulled low. Faces covered. They didn't look around like burglars. They moved with purpose, synchronized in a way that screamed experience. "Who are they?" I whispered. Lucas swallowed. "The bad people Mom talked to." The words hollowed me out. The men walked up the driveway like they owned it. I reached for my phone, heart pounding, thumb already hovering over 911. I was bracing for the sound of glass breaking, a shoulder slamming into the door. Instead, one of them reached into his pocket. He pulled out a key that I watched, unable to breathe, as he slid it into the lock. The deadbolt clicked open, clean and familiar. The door swung inward. They disappeared inside my house. How? The word came out broken. How do they have a key? Only 3 existed. Mine, Kinsley's, supposedly halfway to San Francisco, and the spare locked in my office safe. Lucas's voice was small. Mom gave it to them. I heard her. She said she'd leave it in an envelope. Something inside me collapsed. Not cracked. Collapsed that MY wife hadn't just lied. She'd handed strangers the means to walk in and kill her family. Flashlight beams flickered behind the windows, sweeping room to room with methodical precision. They weren't searching for valuables. They were mapping. Then I smelled it, even through the rain and the closed windows of the truck. Sharp, chemical, petroleum-based. Accelerant that MY mind cataloged automatically. Gasoline or something hotter. Multiple sources. Smoke began to curl from 2 windows at once. Then a third. That's when I knew. This wasn't an accident. It was a job. They doused the house. Laid trails. Disabled the smoke detectors. Of course they had. I'd installed them myself. I knew where the weaknesses were. Orange light bloomed too fast. Flames catching like they'd been waiting for permission. Heat shattered glass with sound like gunshots. Fire rolled along the ceiling, devouring everything I'd built. The men walked out calm and unhurried. No rush, no panic. The van rolled away and vanished around the corner. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone else had called it in. I grabbed a burner phone I kept for work travel and dialed once. Fire at 2314 North Lake City Way. I hung up before they could ask a single question. I wasn't ready for anyone to know we were alive. By the time the fire trucks arrived, I already knew the flames were too hot, too fast. 2 years of design late nights and excuses turned into an inferno no amount of water could save. Lucas was crying now, shoulders shaking. "I told you," he sobbed. "I told you, Dad." I pulled him against me, held him tight. "You saved us, son. You saved our lives. If we'd gone inside, locked the door, followed routine, we might have had 2 minutes. Maybe less day and 8-year-old had kept us from being burned alive. The house collapsed inward. I scrolled through my contacts and stopped at a name I hadn't used in years. Emberlyn Turner, MY late father's friend from Union days. At his funeral. 5 years ago, she gripped my hand and said, "If you ever need someone who won't back down, call me." That I pressed dial. I watched in the shadows as the Uber pulled up at 11:30 p.m. Kinsley stepped out like she'd been shot from a cannon. "Oh, God. Oh, my God, my family." Her scream cut through the rain as she ran toward the flames. An officer caught her before she reached the tape. She collapsed against him, sobbing so hard her knees buckled. It was a flawless performance. The fire chief spoke gently. Ma'am, we haven't found any remains yet. I saw it then. Just a flicker. Not grief. Fear. She was afraid we were dead. She was afraid we weren't. Kinsley wiped her face, already pivoting. The gas system. Liam designed it himself. He's an engineer at Boeing. He was always experimenting. I told him to be careful. There it was. The story. The blame. From the truck, I typed a message using Lucas's smartwatch, my hand steady in a way they didn't feel. Hey, babe, Lucas and I stopped for a late dinner. Phone died earlier. Her phone buzzed. The color drained from her face so fast it was almost impressive. Her eyes snapped up, scanning the crowd, the shadows, the street. Wild, uncontrolled. She knew that I drove us to a cheap motel 15 minutes away and paid cash under the name John Smith. Lucas slept like he'd run a marathon. At 2 a.m., I went back out alone. That SeaTac's parking garage echoed with every step. I found her Honda CR-V on level 4. I still had a spare key, something I'd never told her. Inside, the smell hit me immediately. Her perfume and the same sharp chemical tang I'd smelled at the house. Under the passenger seat, I found the burner phone. The contact was saved to see 0.5 days earlier. I can't keep living this lie. I want to be with you. Then do it. Insurance money. Fresh start 0.4 days earlier. I'm scared. I found the guys. Professionals. It'll look like his gas system malfunctioned. No one suspected engineer's mistake 0.3 days earlier. I got the $50,000 cash. Leave key under back doormat. They'll handle everything Thursday night. Then the line that broke me. What about Lucas? Collateral damage. Babe. Can't have a kid without a father. I threw up against the concrete until my throat burned. There was more. Tex placing Chad at his gym during the fire. Kinsley boarding her flight. A receipt for a $50,000 cash withdrawal. An airport locker key. Life insurance documents. $3 million on me. $500,000 on Lucas. And blueprints.my blueprints. With her handwriting in the margins, sabotage here. Disabled detector. Blame design flaw. By Friday morning, Emmeline Turner was sitting across from me with Detective Tom Wilson. Wilson leaned back, jaw tight. 28 years on the force, he said. I've got a son, too. Your wife tried to kill a child. That's evil. The plan was simple. Risky. One shot, Saturday. 10 a.m. A coffee shop on Capitol Hill. Undercover officers everywhere. The barista, a guy on a laptop, a couple by the window. They sent Kinsley a text from a fake fire investigator. Found remains in rubble. Need to discuss identification and insurance. She replied in under 30 seconds. I'll be there. Lucas watched me clip on the wire. Will you be safe, Dad? I will, I said. I promise. When Kinsley walked in and saw me alive, the blood left her face. Liam? I slid the burner phone across the table. She stared at it, then laughed cold. Empty. You were always smarter than I thought. She talked about marrying me because she was desperate at 28. About how I was safe, stable, boring. About $100,000 in IVF for a child she never wanted. About Chad. About money. Collateral damage, she said calmly. A quick death beats years of therapy. I stood. You were going to burn our son alive. She stood too, voice rising, echoing through the cafe. Yes, I hired 2 men to burn the house with you, and Lucas inside. I wanted the insurance money. I studied your engineering. Yes, our son had to die. Detective Wilson stepped forward. Every word, Mr. Harmon. Badges flashed. She screamed as they cuffed her. I hate you, Liam. I know, I said. You always did. I just didn't see it. The trial lasted 4 weeks. The recordings, the texts, the blueprints, Chad's testimony, the arsonist describing her instructions in detail. I told the jury about the airport, about my son's hand in mine 0.6 hours. Guilty on all counts. 25 years, we sold the land, bought a small all-electric house in Ballard. I quit Boeing and started teaching engineering safety at UW. Lucas goes to therapy twice a week. The nightmares are fading. 0.3 years later, he's 11, plays basketball, wants to be a civil engineer. He got a letter from his mother last week. We talked about forgiveness, about letting go. That evening, he rode his bike down the street, then turned back. Thanks for believing me that night at the airport. Always, I said, I'll always believe you. He smiled. I know. That's why we're okay now.